Thank you. So this is the meeting of the committee to review town council rules and town code on September 3rd, Wednesday at 4 p.m. at the Selectmen's Conference Room. And roll call, Councillor Turkelson here, Councillor Burdick
Here.
Councillor Clark is here. And I don't see anyone for public comment. And I'll move ahead to agenda item C with the review with Town Attorney Karen Nover, the administrative code, which Cindy copied for us.
This one.
Oh, yes, so we're doing the administrative code?
That's it. That's how that was set up. It's the same agenda.
Oh, I see.
And I appreciate your guidance.
Right, this is just the preamp.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Couple.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question before we get going? I know that you're preparing yourself. So, I had hoped, or I do hope still, that we can talk about the overarching structure of how this committee is gonna move forward. Meaning that this, I would hope, or maybe we can, have this be an organizational meeting about how the steps and the strategy that we're going to use in order to effectively review and revise the code to make recommendations to the council. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's a
So,
great idea.
and if I can elaborate on that, I will. I go on one of my unhinged tirades, but, yeah, so, what I was thinking about, because
We'll
as
make
we.
room for that in future agendas.
Yeah, that's unhinged tirade. But so what I was thinking about, and you and I, Chris, have discussed this somewhat, is that because of this in my opinion is a big deal, and it's a big job, and it needs I think there needs to be a few different prongs to the method we use to attack it. And so, I know we had discussed earlier that there will be a technical review of the code, which is ongoing insofar as the language of the code, the actual scriveners of the code, right? We took on a consultant to do this? Is this not?
Yes.
Is that a fact?
To my knowledge, it cost about $16,000 to contract with this company that does a evaluation of our code and make sure it's reconciled to itself and then to state law.
Right, so
Right.
that's prong one, that's ongoing, absent our interaction with them,
And
right?
has
I don't know if they're reconciling it to state law.
Apparently from
Yeah,
Anne, she said she'd make sure that since our code was developed some time ago, if there are new regulations or new code ordinance or laws and policies at the state level that we're out of compliance with, it'll flag that.
okay.
Right, so anyway,
And is that actually happening? Like it's started? Do we know that?
I don't know if it started. I know I reviewed the contract. I had a couple of changes. I believe they accepted the changes. They had one question about one change. I responded to Anne and told her she could forward that email. I believe she did. So I don't know exactly where the contract is, but
It's on its
it
way.
is not with legal.
That's what it says, it's with
Do
legal,
you have
it's
any
with
idea how
legal.
long that will take?
If I was told, I don't know, and Anne is on vacation, I would have gone through this with her today.
Well,
but
that'll be on its own and that'll be one
But
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
I'm
she's
curious.
doing that. She's
It's
got
on the
some-
track.
I thought it was,
I thought, yeah.
There's no
Well, it'll be
hold up on
done
our
at some
end.
point. So, that would be prong one. Prong two, I think, and, depending, and we talked about this a little bit, didn't we? And that we need to engage the departments of the town and their interaction with the code. Their as each section pertains to their specific area of authority and how they view the code and how it could better serve them and how it could be modified to be more effective and allow them to do their jobs better. That would be one thing. So, I mean, and that prong is a big one in and of itself. So we would have to direct each of those departments to take the time, whether it's the board committee or commission that has the regulatory authority in that setting, or and along with the director of said department, so gonna have to go through all of them essentially, right? And wherever they interact with the code, and have a time frame so that we can at least have some kind of date certain for things, and so that they can get working on it sooner than later, so that we can incorporate that into our thought process. And then prong 3 would be the, I guess, the theory and spirit of the code as viewed by us, the legislators. And however that looks is less clear to me. Because of course, there may be public comment input at some point in this committee. I thought there would be people here today that would have something to say. I'm surprised that there aren't, but that's fine too. But that us as a legislative body, or at least this part of the legislative body, this subcommittee of the body, needs to have create a framework through which we can target and review, specifics. That whether it's something that an individual has that they're concerned about, or it's something that they are, have thought about and think needs to be changed, or specific requests by the community, a complaint that's received all the time, or whatever, however that shakes out. I don't know about how that'll work. But so that's what I was thinking about. I don't know how you guys feel about it, or you guys feel about it. But for me on this committee at this particular time, I would like for us to try to create something that has a framework.
Pathway.
Yeah, so that we have measurable, we have milestones that we can reach, so that we can take it,
It is a
As
big
exact
task, because I think
process.
that rules could have been a separate committee from code, that there's just so much. And some of it has been overlapping in the work we've done on the committee on committees. So when you mentioned about soliciting input from the directors, we did that to some extent with some of the committees with our review. But I hear what you're saying, it would be
Yeah.
good to have a comprehensive
we did a little
feedback.
bit, a tiny bit with them in that committee. This would be a really comprehensive look at how the code needs to change to be
So-
more modern, to be more effective, to be more suited to the time.
So what is also happening that I think is a good thing,
Another packet.
yeah, I think I gave one to each of you, I'm sorry. And probably one to Gordon. But I lost my train of thought. Oh, that by looking at this, I understand where you're going, but we're also embarking on our strategic plan that may, how do I want to say, give us some guidance or direction to what priorities are and how it might interface with the code. So that being said, why don't we turn it to the town attorney, who's on the agenda for helping us review that. And I hear you, thank you for that.
So my thoughts, listening to what Councilor Burdick said, is I completely agree that it makes sense to come up with sort of what's the game plan and the strategy for how you're going to undertake this next task, because otherwise we're just sort of going in a bunch of different directions. And then I guess my question really is, are you looking to do a comprehensive overhaul of the entire code, or are you looking to say, what are the 2, 3, 4 big things that really need to be corrected, fixed, revised, and get in, do that, and count that as a win? So I guess that's my question is, which way are you kind of thinking about this?
For me, I'd say a comprehensive overhaul, why not? I mean, it's insofar as we can accomplish it.
Have you seen the
Yeah,
entire
I know.
book?
So-
I mean, the code is enormous.
It is enormous.
And it's across the spectrum of specialties. I mean, it just,
Well, you missed the first part
Yeah,
of
you
what I
missed
was
the
saying,
first
which
part.
was that, so I'll just paraphrase it for you, or just give you the brief. I said we need to just come up with a game plan. And so I envision 3 different prongs of that. One is the technical review that's ongoing via the consultants. 2 is essentially kicking the code back to all of the departments of the town to review their interaction with it, how their given department or whatever they do interacts with the code and what they think needs to be different about it in order to make their job better or easier or more up to date, whatever. And the third part being that the legislative view of the spirit of the code and the theory of the code. And that could be informed by our feelings or those of our constituents or common complaints or what we think we need to do in the future, however that works out. But I mean, that's my opinion. I think that because if we use the professional staff of the town, and I'm sure, and I've spoken to a number of them, not everybody, of course, they have plenty of complaints about the way that the code is written or how it isn't written. And I think they would enjoy the ability to at least provide feedback on the code. And that for us wouldn't represent a lot of work as a committee. So I think there would be some appetite for it.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
I don't think wouldn't make it any harder for us, and it would make them essentially do the work if they have the time.
Well,
But
I
I just
hope that
want-
they would be continually doing that. Why wouldn't they be doing that? I know when I talk to, community services, they're looking at all of their stuff. Why wouldn't the staff be continually looking at those?
They don't have the authority to change the code.
But to bring it, they can't change it? I mean, well, look at what we have. We have several changes to the code coming up, having to do with what Andy's been working on. Those are changes.
Yeah.
And I've heard so many times from Brian Florence, what we have on there is unenforceable. I mean, how do things like that happen?
Right.
But
So-
I think that's what he's
That's what I'm
saying.
trying
That's what I'm saying, no, I'm agreeing, but I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know
It sounded
that,
like you weren't agreeing
it seems
with
draconian that we say, oh, you can't do anything. I mean, then why is,
It's like so many things that may be customary, or it's just
Stale.
whose ear do you get in order to get that
Yeah.
thing changed? Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
the things that are gonna change, i.e. code enforcement, are as a result of people's concerns, meaning counselors' concerns
yeah,
with code being
And
enforced, and residents, and the whole, the whole
right.
snowballing of a series of complaints and concerns from a number of different people. So then that gets the ball rolling on that. I mean, it's a more proactive way to see what they think is wrong with it, rather
Yeah.
than, I don't know, I mean, that's my.
Based on what you're both saying, I mean, how often, I don't know, because I'm not the person changing the code, but how often does a department head come and say, we need to change the code, and in the historical perspective, and you might not know, which is fine, but how is that done? I mean, in the last 15 years, how many things have been changed, and how did they get to a change?
Well, I mean, every time we bring an ordinance change to you, that's a change to the code. So it happens all the time.
But I don't think it's brought from them, I think it comes from us, and I just go back again because I'm working with Chris Canella on the kite sailors, whatever you call them, kite boarders.
Yeah, kite boarders.
And and that goes back to some sort of kite regulation that Patty Machado did 25 years ago, and it hasn't changed. And when I came to him with this, and we're still working on it, he said, when he came in there, I don't know how much turnover we've had in the departments. When he came in there, he's looked at everything.
Patty's been there for a long time.
And
So
keep in
Patty
mind,
was there
too,
for a long time.
She was a Barnstable lifeguard, and so she's come through the.
But regulations, you also have to then look at whose authority, because if it's town manager regulation,
Right.
we wouldn't be spending time on that necessarily. We'd be spending time on the rest of the code, which is the town council's ultimate decision.
So the
like-
town manager regulations, we would not be
Like the dog stuff.
looking at that, because that would be under the town managers.
I mean, I don't think it's the purview of this committee. That doesn't mean if you read it and had a question or an issue that you wouldn't bring it to the town manager. It's not like you could always have that conversation. I don't think this committee, in looking at the town code, the regulations are that's where you find them, is in the code.
Yeah, that's
But
why
the
I saw
authority
them.
for them, depending on what they are, like the town manager regulations, the authority lies with the town manager. So I would certainly bring concerns that you had to him, but the code itself, as we just said, is a huge book. I would focus on the parts that are directly under the purview of the council, which is most of it. If not,
So I guess I like Seth's idea. Let's empower the department heads
Have a
to
look
do
at
a
it.
scrub.
Because and I guess more broadly, what I really am trying to say is some of these committees are ad hocs, and other committees kind of go adrift. and I don't wanna go adrift. I wanna have a clear plan, and I want us to at least know, or at least have an idea of what each agenda is going to have based on, we don't wanna be doing this for the next 3 years. Whenever this sun sets, we should have already done it.
I was gonna say the
technically.
opposite, I was gonna say maybe there should be a standing committee
Right,
of the
well, we
council,
talked
and you
about
can
that.
do it over time thoughtfully and not feel a time pressure to revamp the entire code in
Right.
2 months.
Well, we have talked about that on the committee on committees, and I'm all for doing full-on standing committees in order to have this be a process.
Yeah, we're not doing a good job of retiring committees. We seem to be birthing more committees.
But I mean, but that would be
But I
a good
understand.
committee, I know
But
what
if
you
it's-
mean.
But if it is, if it's got purpose and value,
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Make them
certainly,
work, and I like your remark about civic engagement. I think it does promote that.
the zoning board of appeals has said they're so hamstrung by some of these ordinances. I mean, they need to be changed.
Right, so we could,
Yeah,
we
so-
could target things like, obviously.
Planning and
code
development
changes
is a
to zoning.
huge one. I mean, zoning, yeah, zoning.
So let me just read,
Zoning is its own subject. I mean,
Yeah,
so let me just read that our purpose for this committee is to work closely with the town's legal staff to review the documents to ensure consistency with existing process and practices and recommend revisions to the council.
That's
So
pretty-
just mentioning zoning, I mean, I know one of the things that we're talking about is whether the council should have a standing committee on zoning, which I think makes a lot of sense. And zoning is a big chunk of the code, and it's its own discrete world, so I'm
So
not
I
sure-
agree with you, and Jim Kupfer has been lobbying for us to do so.
Yeah.
I think we need to recognize that, establish a standing zoning subcommittee, and give them that job. Take that off our homework list. And
In the
establish.
code, where is zoning?
That's actually a recommendation of this
Where
committee,
is
right?
the
Yeah, it
zoning
could be.
in the code?
40A or something like that?
240,
Is it 240?
chapter 240.
Well,
Zoning, there I see it.
I don't know, I think, yep, standing committee's a good idea. This committee exists, has been empowered, is meeting. Why wait to go and, we can do the standing committees, of course, that I think is gonna be one of the recommendations of the committee on committees. But don't kick it any.
Pare it back.
I hear you.
Well, we got rid of the cable committee or whatever.
No, I actually think some standing,
We haven't
standing
done it yet.
committees of the council would be very useful. I think some of the other committees of the town, perhaps not as much, but
Right.
I think certain committees of the council should be
But that's what I'm
created.
saying, just standing committees of council,
Yeah.
So you
not
have-
anymore.
You have some good
volunteer.
ideas to advance this. Do you want to develop a draft survey to the department heads and ask them to fill out, say, planning actually has responsibility for many committees. Hyannis Main Street Waterfront, planning, ZBA,
all you
open
have to do is-
space, recreation,
We put together a
or
statement
not recreation.
that we can send out that
But
says,
don't you want,
you
want
can
you-
review, will you please review your interaction with the code and suggest to
Yeah.
us how we can help you?
oh, broadly
Yeah.
like that without
Because
asking?
they're gonna know, most of them are gonna know right off the bat, they're not gonna have to sit there and dig through the code to find the things that they've been making them crazy for their whole career at the town, or you know what I mean, like, they're gonna wanna have these things changed, and it doesn't have to be every single word and every single thing, but like Jim, for instance, I'm sure will know where, in the code where it talks about harness makers or whatever, or, you know, all that stuff that's totally asinine. that they'll
Some of
be-
those are at the state level.
Is there, well, he'll know that too, I don't know that.
Fence
I'm no
viewer.
zoning wonk, I don't know. But you see what I'm trying to say, which is
Yes, I do.
that I think that we should come up with a framework for this committee, have it written, we can decide on it and write on it, and write it and use it as our framework for carrying on the rest of this
Do
committee.
you want to write a draft?
I'm saying that we should just do it right now. I don't need to like draft it. I mean, we can sit here at this committee, which is the job of this committee, and then come up with our strategy, our framework, and then we'll know what we're gonna do next meeting, and so on and so on.
Thank you.
Okay, well, do you wanna
Do
meet,
you want a
I mean, do
paper and
you,
pen?
Yeah, really, yeah.
I mean, do you wanna meet with Chris Canella, cause he's the one who took the initiative, because he was new,
I mean, we could
And he
meet
said there
with,
was some crazy stuff in there, just crazy stuff.
right, I can imagine, and we can
But
do
he
that.
might help, he might inform us, a little bit. I mean, but I like your idea, let's press on.
Yeah, if we can just come up with a framework, that's the thing. Maybe we have department heads come and present the specific thing. Because we can say that, like you said, so it doesn't have to necessarily be a nuts and bolts complete and total overhaul, but at least get the high points of the things that are really bugging people or things that we really should sort out. And then we can use that. And if we do found these standing committees, which I would like to do.
But how about empowering a continuous process? I mean, it's not like this stuff should be set in stone. It should be dynamic as things change. I mean, technology has changed. Remember our town rules? We're
Right.
supposed to hand deliver the things to the, I mean, come on. I bet there's a bunch of that stuff in there. I think we should have a, continuous improvement process and empower the staff to do that, be more dynamic.
Well, right now, we're just empowered by this.
Yeah.
By this assignment. So if our parting shot is to recommend that this be a standing committee, then that would be one of the recommendations.
That would be part of that, to keep it moving, keep it
When
always.
does this committee sunset? Do you know?
It has.
Oh, it already has, it needs.
Well, Craig has
Extended?
extended it, but I'm not so sure. I think that it's gone beyond that already. For example, sorry to say that this is,
I do think this should be a standing
So
committee
prong
because the
one
code
is-
is never gonna be, you're never gonna be done.
It's never gonna be done.
Prong one was the technical review.
Yes.
That's, we think, on its way into being in process, if not already. Prong two is reaching out to the departments.
Uh-oh, we're getting a chart.
What
We're
is the
getting a flow
technical
chart.
review looking for? What are they doing?
I'm sorry, what?
To make sure any changes.
What are they doing, the technical review? I mean, who gave them a statement of work?
It was-
Ann Cork, I
Oh, Ann
believe,
Cork did? Okay.
is
Yeah.
working with the.
All right,
It's
and
a
Have we read the
contract
statement
company.
of work?
And prong three
Is
is,
what I would
I
call the
did briefly when I
legislative
looked at
review.
the contract, but I can't remember.
do you think the legislative review would be more of the standing committee?
Yeah, and that
ongoing?
could be too, there you go. Maybe we do the technical review, department level review for high points, and then the legislative review aspect could be the standing committee. And we could recommend that the legislative review be
2024.
conducted by a standing committee
Yeah.
that we would form.
Yeah.
And it will go back with the departments as well at that time.
Yeah, and they'll be doing the whole thing, but
Yeah.
maybe we can get the really,
Yeah, the things that are known right now that are impacting the engagement of the
the
departments with our code that need
right,
addressing.
that sounds reasonable to me. And then we can, because then that would also, as you say, make this committee less forever. If the legislative, because I think the legislative review is an important part as well. That, because there's no standing committee and things pop up here and there, whereas at the town council meetings essentially.
I just caution, just in the global sense, that we want to make sure that any policy decisions are not strong-armed by staff. And I don't mean that in a critical way. I've just seen that where we've had weak department chairs and strong staff that the
You mean
Responsibility.
department
Department
directors?
chairs and staff are the same thing.
Right.
committee chairs that are appointed by the town council and
Well,
staff, which are hired by
The
the
chairs
town
are
manager.
appointed by the committee members that are
Chairs
appointed
by
by
the
the
town
town
council.
council.
What I'm
Well, I
saying
mean,
is,
you could set up a process
the
where,
legislative side of the house and the executive side of the
where the
house.
staff sort of funnels their recommendations through the town manager so that
That's-
he evaluates the reasonableness of whatever it is people are asking for,
And they serve
people
under
aren't going
his
directly
direction.
to you guys.
Well, I think we could do a very critical analysis of what Andy's bringing forward, I think, on our agenda, isn't it?
You mean Seth? Oh,
Well,
Andy,
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
Andy,
The
with that whole
enforcement
thing with
items.
the enforcement stuff. I really want to see, how's that going to impact? Is this actually enforceable? Because again, we've passed stuff that's not enforceable. Because you talk about strong arming, the council wanted it passed, okay, yay, we passed it. Okay, I can't enforce that,
Well,
and it's
It's true.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess I would want,
So-
when we sort of throw out not enforceable, I would want, and I'm not saying this at you, but I would want more specifics.
Well, that's what I
because-
would like, more specifics too, because it's pretty
I'll
important.
give an example.
But I'm also not sure how accurate.
So what had happened is years ago, maybe 30. There was a regulation passed by the then town council that political signs should not go up before 30 days of the election, or something to that effect. Brian, our commissioner, building commissioner, says that's not enforceable because on private property, that's free speech. So what is still in our books, I don't think it was ever rescinded, is a statement the intent was to minimize sign pollution during election time. This building commissioner said you can't force somebody to take a political sign off their lawn any time of the year because it's freedom of speech.
Well, political signs are sort of the epitome of free speech.
Yeah, so my point is that was a regulation that's not enforceable.
It was illegal.
That's, yeah.
And apparently it's still in our books,
Yeah.
because if
Well,
we
that
haven't
kind of-
But
rescinded
is
it.
it?
What to say. People,
Well, that's what we're here to
Well, it's
do.
not only that,
When I asked the
it's
legal
in our
department, you know.
packets regarding elections coming up. It's handed to us. You're not up for reelection, you wouldn't know, but it's in there, so.
Thrown away.
I mean, again, you can regulate signs, but not based on the content.
And on private property. So we'd have to look at that regulation if that's something we want to say, look, it's not enforceable.
Yeah.
Purge it. All those in favor, move on to the next. That's stuff to clean up, I can imagine that. But the survey to the department heads, I think that we would have to write a letter.
what is the survey?
timeframe.
I'm not sure what the survey is.
Asking the department heads, what are the known issues with your engagement currently to our town code as it stands? And it may be that somebody comes back and, can you think of an example, Seth, that you know of? Because you've had this conversation with multiple people?
I have.
I don't see that as a survey.
No, it's more of a
I think it's
direction.
more of a direction to them, to go
Well,
take a
we're
look.
querying. It's a query.
Like I've heard
Is
it
that a
about,
better
well,
word?
from Jim,
Inquiry.
like about zoning
No,
stuff. I remember I was
queries,
talking
you're
to
good.
one of the
Yeah.
police
That's like 25
detectives
cent word for
about
that.
something, I don't remember the exact thing, something having to do with regulation of massage parlors or something that she wanted to do. I forget exactly what the thing was. But it was some kind of regulation that she wanted to get through but couldn't seem to get.
Who won? I'm sorry.
It was a police detective.
Oh, okay.
That had to do with, something having to do with sex trafficking. And it was something they thought was simple that would help the process, but couldn't quite get it over the line into the code. Like stuff like that. I mean, there's gotta be. I don't know, I haven't spoken about it with as many people as I could, but yeah, I wouldn't call it a survey so much as a direction.
Yeah.
In this time period, we would like for you to review your interaction with the code and make suggestions to us about how we can better serve, how the code can better serve you, and we can help that process along. It's as simple as that. And it's not,
Write that down, Seth.
okay, it's as simple as that.
I don't disagree with any of that, but I do think just in terms of process, that there should be a discussion with the town manager as to how to get to that.
Right.
Only because staff reports to him, he reports to you, and, you know, I don't think staff should be coming directly to you without him
I
at least
agree.
knowing
I
and
understand.
being.
Well, just directors. He said he doesn't mind if we talk to directors.
In the
No,
town.
he doesn't, I think, in the normal course, but I think on a project like this, I would just touch base with him and just see what his thoughts are. I just think that's responsible.
Is he over there?
His door's closed.
And
They left
the
that door
town
open when we
manager,
got in there.
does he quite often sit with all department heads at once in a collective like that?
Twice a week.
So I mean.
And I was going to suggest, you might even want
Yeah.
to see if you could attend one of those meetings
Yeah.
and have this discussion directly. All the department heads meet twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursday mornings.
All together in a big room?
No, on Zoom.
Oh,
on Zoom?
That is
Yeah.
fun. I'll call him and ask him about it. Because, I mean, yeah, anyway, I'm gonna write something down.
Nope, that's,
Yeah, I was actually thinking that
Yeah,
would be
I
a
mean, I
good
think,
forum for you to speak directly to the department heads
Yeah.
with the town manager and the assistant town manager.
and just so you know, in preparation for our strategic planning session, which, did you guys fill out your worksheets?
I got a reminder.
Due by September 5, I believe. There was a survey sent to all department heads for their feedback that David Colton, the facilitator, is going to share with us at our workshop and use as feedback from staff.
Yes.
So anyways, that's been that's been underway. So the staff has already been engaged and
Are either our
We-
strategic goals, objectives.
we have our
Not their
homework,
specific
SWOT.
interaction with the codes.
Well, we have our homework with SWOT analysis.
Yeah, I read all that.
So anyways, I'm just.
So
don't
does
be-
somebody want to attend that Tuesday or Thursday meeting with permission from the town manager to join?
I'll do that.
That makes sense.
I would. What time do they meet?
10:30.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm gonna call Mark first,
Yeah, I would.
and then I'll call
Otherwise, you won't get the link.
him. But I don't see why, I don't think he would be, I
I'll
don't think he'll be like, absolutely not.
No,
Not gonna
I
meet
can't
with you
imagine.
guys." He'll be like,
I
"Okay,
think he
we'll
would
get it
obviously
going.
be
We'll do it."
fine. I just
Yeah.
think that's the way.
You don't want to just
Yeah.
try to show up and Zoom bomb a meeting. Get the link
That's what I
in the
do, just show up at their office.
Bust in.
I'm sure he'd be fine. I just think that's the way to do it.
Okay, so prong 1 is in service, prong 2, we're working on it, and prong 3, we think should
Would
be
be
a
a standing
recommendation to for a
Yeah.
standing committee.
Sounds good.
I mean, I started to go through the code in chronological order, and right after the charter, it talks about non-criminal enforcement of violations. I find that interesting that that's article number 1. And one thing that when I started diving into this is, it seems like our fines and fees are not in one place. And they're all in different formats, different spreadsheets or different colors and fonts and all. So for the general public, even if we don't rearrange the code with that part, I think on the town's website, for the benefit of the public, there could and should be a location for people to find what existing codes and kinds. Article 1.
The code is on the website.
I'm on the website, yeah.
Yes, but instead of having to search through the code, if there was Town of Barnstable fees,
Mm.
dog or animal control and dump fees or DPW fees or shellfish fees or waterways fees or parking, just have those in one place instead of finding where they're buried in the code.
Or you could have a link directly to the code.
That's
I'm a
good
little
idea.
leery about reproducing things in different spots because things happen and get lost in translation. But if you went to one spot on the website and there was literally a link that you would click onto, it would take you right to that section of the code,
Links are good, yeah.
I would prefer that. I would also want Lynn to be part of this conversation.
Understood.
Before
No,
I volunteer for
it is a
things.
big lift, but after I said, how would a reasonable resident or visitor know where to find out the enforcement for trouble that they could get in, you know? Is this a big deal? Is it, I don't know, I was shellfishing in a contaminated area, you know, so how would they find that?
Well, I think most people probably find it when they get a fine.
That's
And then we say it's in the code and here's the link and you know, I mean, I have to say, as hard as I find all this, whenever I ask, people give me the link and it's great, so, I mean, I think we can over communicate and I think sometimes it's more just, I'm sure if somebody's really wondering, they're probably picking up the phone and calling some town department who's sending it to this department, to that department, and the person gets routed to the right place, so.
Eventually, yes, but if you're shellfishing at 6 a.m, there's nobody to call. I'm just saying,
I guess my question is, how many people at 6 a.m. that are shellfishing don't already know the rules or regulations and are probably curious?
Diehard shell fishermen.
I hear you.
I mean, maybe the shellfish page needs a rework or something, I don't know.
No, the
I
shellfish.
don't even see Article 1 on here, can you show me where it is? On here?
Yeah, under
It says Article 1
Under
here.
general provisions, or general,
So chapter 1, Article 1, okay. I was like looking for Article 1.
sorry, that's the first thing. So like I said, I was trying to address it chronologically, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow, we're into this mire of interesting stuff. So it lists the fines and the scheduling Article 2, schedule for parking fines. So I don't know if you have any recommendations on how the code is organized and how much you think we ought to mess with that. I don't think it's logical.
How big is this code book? I've never actually
Oh, it's
seen
very
it.
big. I have a hard copy, which I'm sure is outdated, in my office. And it's a notebook, but it's huge. Like, I can't get the pages to turn because it's so thick.
You would never go to that, you would just go here, right?
Yeah, I was looking at something earlier, but generally I just do it online, yeah.
Now, any.
Chris, why do you think it's not organized right, Council?
I don't think that the first thing that you'd be looking for is this incomplete list of fines.
I also think part of the problem now is the chapters are what they are. So to move things around would be a nightmare.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not saying you couldn't, but I'm just
No,
saying because, everything's in their slot. So if you started moving it and you renumbering it, that would set off a whole chain of.
Like, I get it, we go from chapter 1 to chapter 9, where's chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8?
So you have room to put stuff in there.
Oh,
I know you do. I mean,
yeah, is that, I mean,
sometimes it says reserved or, and then you can. do
yeah, I've seen that.
I mean, in my mind, it would strike me that,
I also think like people know certain numbers, like when you said what zoning, I know it's 240.
240.
But if it suddenly was 11 tomorrow, it would be like, oh my God.
Well, we also know what was Rule 6B is now 6C.
Oh, jeez, if we misquote it,
No, that's the Seth
Council
Furtick code.
the SB code.
Yeah, I haven't
Um,
used it lately.
But
Maybe
I'm
tomorrow.
thinking that what would strike me as most prominent in the way we govern ourselves is how the government is set up. Not a list of fines.
Well, I guess that's what the charter does.
Charts,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the charter is the organization of
Okay.
the town, and then these are the laws of the town.
So do you have a suggestion on this part? The next,
I
Meaning-
yeah.
I think it's what it is. I mean, it's a legal document. I think how people interact with it is less important than what it says. I mean, do people really look up the code? I know that they look up the noise ordinance because I get called about that all the time. And that's one of the weakest parts of the whole, thing.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know about, I don't think it would really bear us reading through the code and trying to find stuff and move it around and shift it and this and that, I think would be asinine because it's an enormous document. This technical review will hopefully cite,
That-
if there's any kind of structural weakness to it, that they will find that. And they could make suggestions, how it could be better organized.
I mean, be honest with you, I started, and it's a daunting task to look at other towns' codes, it's just a
Right,
big
I don't think that is germane necessarily either, because the code is really an instrument. Do you know what I mean? It's like you.
Is
That's
there
a
a
good
library
analogy,
of our-
though. Well,
of
yeah,
our
it's
laws?
I'm trying to.
It's the how-to manual of
Yeah,
how our
like,
government runs.
It's
our
the
literal
rule book.
town. Yeah.
And so the thing about it is it has to have a philosophy and a spirit that animate it. Like it's essentially like we're the legislative body, right? And so this is our creation that says we want to rule the town in this fashion. That's what it really is. And so I think that it doesn't really matter how it's set up per se or what. We need to think about the bigger picture of it. That's what I really want to focus on. You know what I mean? Because we can sit around here all day and try to sift through it. And
Well, big picture stuff is in the local comprehensive plan. That's the narrative of our,
yeah, but that doesn't have
Spirit
anything
and
to do with the
philosophy.
code, really.
no, it doesn't, but but when you talk
Because the
about,
codes are the laws, and the local comprehensive plan is more like a strategy. So that's what, like, if we're not gonna, if we're gonna allow the legislative review aspect of it to go to the standing committee, then I think this committee is gonna have significantly less to do and will sunset a lot sooner. Because I think that is the most important thing.
Oh, the zoning,
Besides-
zoning subcommittee?
No, the standing committee we are proposing to consistently review the code.
To maintain this as a regular standing
Yeah,
committee.
to consistently, so is this the technical review, this department level review, in order to make the code a
That's
better,
clear?
machine through which the town can operate, it's like the technical guidebook. Why can't I think of the word?
Updates.
A manual, there you go, the user's manual for the town apparatus, is that aspect of it. But the legislative review of the spirit and of the code, the things that we
That's
feel
where I'm
need
getting
to change.
hung up on spirit, because if spirit is more aspirational, that's what I'm saying, the
I guess I'm
local
using it like
comprehend.
in like a legal sense. So anyway, if we aren't gonna do the legislative review aspect of it in this committee, and we're gonna recommend, and there's then created a standing committee, then this committee's work will be much more straightforward. And I think it should be very high level. I don't think that getting too mixed up in the mechanics of the document itself are gonna do us any favors, and it's just gonna be frustrating and have no real purpose. Because that's more or less what this aspect of it that's what they're going to do. We're paying them however much we're paying them.
Yeah, that's,
Because the legislative review part, in my opinion, is where people will definitely get the most fired up. And there'll definitely be the most public commentary, and there'll definitely be the most, I could think of.
Again, that would be a great thing for what Andy Clyburn is bringing forward.
Right.
To have it through that committee where you have a robust discussion with residents.
Right.
Does this meet, and go back to spirit and intent, and if you go
Absolutely.
to zoning meetings, they always talk about spirit and intent. I mean, it was talked about at length with the New England developer. What is the spirit and intent
Right,
of the
because
zoning?
you have this
You know?
gray written word that.
But there is a
supposed to-
spirit and
Yeah.
intent.
Did they
you
mean
know?
it to mean this? Does that
Right.
fit within what they were thinking at the time that they wrote this
But I
code?
do think that Assistant Town Manager Clyburn is intending to have open dialogue and community engagement on changing,
Well, isn't it our agenda to vote
But
on?
it's just on fines. I don't know that it's on
But then
actual.
the second part of it is more of
No, there were a
the,
couple of other things.
I
there's
think there's
also-
something more than fines, it has to do with the trucks and things like that.
Yeah,
Attorney
there's a
Noble was-
proposed ordinance on commercial vehicles.
Yes,
There is a rewrite of the home ordinance, the home occupation ordinance.
Why didn't I see that
We
on
are
the agenda?
working on a noise ordinance.
right. I mean, these are huge, huge things for our residents. And I remember when the home occupation one came forward a couple years ago where they revised it. And it wasn't brought forward in this robust manner, and as a result, here we are.
right,
So I'd like to kind of test it on I want a really robust explanation of what we're doing because it impacts so many residents. I mean, maybe in my precinct, I'll say huge impacts.
Right.
Maybe not as much in Katuitt. You probably don't have the amount of home occupations there. I
Not
don't
even
think you
close.
do.
It's
Whereas
not.
in Hyannis, it's every other house.
A lot of leaf blowers in Katuitt though.
Well, that's another thing.
Hear about that
What
all
were
the
you
time.
gonna say, Attorney Noble?
Yeah, I was gonna say that, so the ordinances, the proposed ordinances that you're referring to, those took a lot of work. So, and it's my department, but it's not just my department. We're meeting with other departments, and there's a lot of time and back and forth and drafting and
Oh, I know.
redrafting that
Yeah.
takes place. So I guess from a completely maybe self-serving point of view, I would ask that if you're looking for us to be drafting changes to ordinances, obviously we'll do that, but I would want you to focus on the things that have an impact, that matter the most to you, because we don't have unlimited staff, and our time is, we're being pulled in a lot of different directions, which is fine, but I'd rather spend the time on the important stuff and let the low-hanging fruit kind of go.
I'm absolutely in support of that.
And I think that's kind of what Counselor Burdick,
Yeah.
in the second prong there, where we're bringing department heads
Little
forward,
sheet, it's not very clear.
as opposed to going
Well, you're missing colors.
word for word. Because this, if we're going section by section, right, that's gonna take a long, long
And every
time.
section, it's not as important as the
Right,
next
and
section.
also we may look at it and say, this sounds good, but then somebody in planning might say, no, actually, I have a huge issue with people calling, saying, how does it, whatever. So I think to Karen's point, you know, with the short time that we have now, to try to focus in on where the real problems lie, as opposed to going through and looking for problems, right? That's probably a better use of our time at the beginning, and
If
then.
it's not broken, don't fix it.
Or even if it's broken a little.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is like, we don't need to go find the broken things, they could be over there, we're not using them currently, but there might be a lot of other broken
then-
things that we know.
correct.
I just
And then
think it's
the
a
standing-
triage thing, it's like you wanna go to
Yeah.
the thing that's the biggest problem.
And then the standing committee, if you recommend that that's created, they can go back and
spend more time.
spend more
Detail.
time, because they
Yeah.
will have time. And then as things come up, you know, somebody from planning or building or wherever can come and say, you know, even though they're reviewing it in general, they can also bring up their issues if one arises. But yeah, I think this is probably the best use of your time.
And we don't have the we, meaning you guys are lawyers, not us. We don't have the expertise to go through the whole code.
You didn't even say that with disdain.
You
Said that like a normal thing.
But, you know, it just isn't about, it wouldn't be a valuable use of our time, just waste everybody's time.
Well, I think with the standing committee too, you're not bumping up against sort of artificial deadlines, so you can take your time and you can get to things and you can do it thoughtfully and you can decide. I think with the time that you have for this committee, you should really focus on the bigger stuff.
Right, and that's why I think if we get it from the
Whatever that
horse's
is.
mouth, whatever it is,
Yeah.
that we can do that. And we'll get the technical aspect of it squared away and we can be done with it for now. And then have that standing committee go. And, you know, I think it, you know, for me personally anyway, it also is kind of, having the standing committee and taking this approach is using the tools that are at our disposal more effectively to get a better product. It's just like, you know, trying to revive the idea of referring more things to the committees so that they can be worked on by those committees prior to
Right.
us trying
Getting
to
to-
make a big scene out of it and trying to figure it out at a
To
public.
collect information on our own,
Right.
Yeah.
defer to the,
But to have, to give it to people who have more expertise than us in order to then aid us in making a decision without banging our heads against the wall about a given topic that we don't necessarily understand.
so I hear you, I think it's a good idea, I think while we're waiting, like I said, I did attempt to contact town clerk Ann Quirk on this, and she's on vacation, so I don't have a current status on the relationship with that review committee. But
But that will happen in its time, and that's
understood, yeah, so,
But once you get that, you can let us know,
yeah,
when
of
you get the
course.
answer to that.
Yeah, but in the meantime, to advance this outreach to department heads, I do think that we should speak with the town manager about that. I'll bring the list of committees with, I can flag what I think belongs to what department.
I think.
I
I don't even
understand
think we
what
need to
you
go
mean by
there, I think that Seth should just talk to town manager
Yeah.
Els.
Well, I'll be with him because I'm the chair.
I think that's fine, the two of them.
Yeah, but I mean, you
I'm
know,
just
then
gonna
you
call him
could-
on the phone and say, hey, Mark, this is what we wanna do, how do you feel? Okay, and then it's a
And then you can all
simple
attend the
direction, I
meeting.
explain the theory of it, and then they can filter, if he agrees, hopefully he would, that would filter down to the departments, and what we need to do is decide, and I can say, or we can say, how long do you think this will take? You need a couple of months? You need a month? Can you give us just the high points and do it in a month? And have it ready for a set date, or keep me posted? I don't want it to fall into the morass of municipal timelines. I know
Well, you're
that
not
goes,
looking for
everyone's
staff
busy.
to give you drafts of things, you're looking
No,
for them to
just
say,
yeah.
here's the problem,
Yeah, A, B,
here's
C,
the part of the
D.
code where you find
Right.
it, here's what I would rather,
Right.
here's what we need, or
So
whatever.
say if you got a month, would you distribute this, put this, however he wants to do it, get it out there, get it back to us, and then we're gonna go at it with our lovely legal team, and then we can try to move some suggestions forward. And
Sounds
then
good.
we'll form our package of recommendations, which will have whatever those things are, maybe 10 things, maybe 15, maybe 5.
Well, I
And
have
then-
2 suggestions already. I've obviously been thinking about this. One is that I think that we shouldn't stand in the way of getting or recommending that a zoning subcommittee be established. I haven't heard any detractors about that. The staff wants it, the council thinks that it'll streamline any zoning discussion, and it is big and bulky, and that could move forward tomorrow as far as I'm concerned. And the second thing, after reading the code and every setup of a committee that we have says shall report to the town council annually. And I say, we should just strike that across the board. We're out of compliance.
Or make people report.
Right, we talked about that.
That's the other option.
So in my experience,
Remember, sorry, go on.
yeah, thank you. In my experience, then President Jessica Rapp-Corsetti had a process for bringing people in. But from my perspective, what I'm seeing is among the illnesses and the controversy and the ad hoc committees that we've had, our agendas are backing up, and they have been backing up. So to find a little bit of daylight, Councillor Tamish and I are often getting admonished for not putting something else on the agenda. So to carve out 5 or 10 minutes to hear from other committees would just, unless and until we stop having executive sessions and other things that are making our meetings long, we're just not finding the time to carve that out.
Well, but I would, just to take a different view of that, I would say that a large number of your committees are advisory committees. And if they never come and talk to the council, then, and if we don't need them to, then they shouldn't exist.
But my counter to that is they haven't been asked, so that's not fair.
No, but I'm just saying, I think then you should figure out a way for them to make some type of report to the council, whether it's once a year. They all don't have to do it at
We
the
do
same
have on the
meeting.
books an annual report, and I think the last one is in 2021 or 2022.
But
So
that's what
I think we need to think like not just this day, like this council. We need to think like, what is the point and how is it gonna further our goal? If our goal is, we see it as the spirit is that we're disconnected from our committees and we need to have a better pulse on what we think as a council and how that affects the committees and what the committee does and how it impacts us. And maybe the report isn't, they come and stand in front of us. Maybe it's once a year, the chair writes a report and gives us, or they go to the videographers and they video a 5-minute spiel that anybody can watch. Or we take the reports and we make them accessible on the town webpage in case, I think we need to think like, if it's not useful now, is there a way we need to resurrect that? Maybe it's in a different form or fashion or function. And then what is the goal? Like, what do we want it to do? If we're gonna keep it on the books, what is its function to further our collective being rather than just striking something out because our meetings are busy right now? Because a year from now, the meetings might not be busy.
Right, I agree, because why not?
it's just because we're out of compliance. Why
A
have
whole
a,
lot of
Well,
compliance
it's
with
not
our law.
compliance, I mean,
Why
it's
don't you
not like
ask them to
anyone's
make their
dinging us
report?
for not doing it.
Or Craig, why are the leadership not asking them to
I
make their
already
report?
said, because our agendas are overfilled
Do
and
what
we have to
Chris
leave at
said.
11.
But I mean, I know
Kristen
that
said.
this isn't the
That's a
committee,
good idea.
this isn't the committee on committees, but I do think that committee should be looking at, for the advisory committees, the regulatory committees need to exist. So for the advisory committees, I think you look at them and you say, what is it we're asking them to meet once a month, whatever it is they do, to talk about, to then advise the council on? And either there's real things that you want them to advise on. I think whether they show up or whether they do a report or they tape some, I don't know about taping something, because they should be talking to the council in some fashion, but,
Well, just in case.
yeah, no, I know, but
40 committees
but
is
if you
what?
have an advisory committee that's formed to advise the council on XYZ topic, there ought to be a mechanism for them to do that. And I think, not having time at council meetings, I totally get that, but at the same time, then why are they all meeting? If they're meeting to talk to each other, they don't exist to talk to each other, they exist to advise the council.
That's precisely what I've been saying, we've been saying at those meetings. Isn't that about it, right?
So I did have a conversation with the town manager, and he finds value in some of the, sit on the committee on committees, and he said, I wouldn't get rid of that committee, he said, I value their input when it comes to changing fee schedule or regulations or other kinds of things. So it has value not only to the town council, but to the town manager, and he said so. So I'm just saying that on face value, when we asked, and I mentioned to Councillor Lutke, we asked Chris Ganella, Director of Community Services, to come in and speak to us. And he's staff. But then we asked Lindsay Council, who's committee chair, different kinds of authority and different kinds of application of their input. So how a committee chair views the function of their committee might be different from the way staff sees it, which doesn't have to, but often supports it with minutes and minute taking and agenda posting and all that. And beyond that, the town manager finds value in the way that he views the committees as a sounding board for whether there are changes to Sandy Neck fees or shellfish fees or parking fees or new regulations, whether or not we're gonna have fireworks, because of the piping plovers or whatever. I'm just saying that I think that information serves not only the council for reporting, but also the town manager. So this annual
I don't think
report.
the committees should be serving us for reporting purposes. They should be serving us for the advisory information they provide to the council and in part to the town manager too, because, we have residents, we have the council, we have the manager, we have the department. So, if there's like an up and down ladder system that goes along with that. But I just think we've already highlighted, we have a whacked out relationship where there's just a lot of stuff going on and there's not like an overlap of those things. They're kind of out here in space. And although the town manager's got an overlap, this committee with the town manager, we have the council over here and it's not connecting at all with the committee. So I just think we need to find a way to bring those together, and the reporting mechanism might be one aspect of that. And then it's how can we refer and not overload our committees and not overload other departments, but how can we make it more proactive and engaging so that we have lots of stuff come before us and at the last minute we come up with the questions. Well, maybe we should have been having those conversations earlier in the game. So I think it's just, there's more work to be done there.
And our new standing committee for legislative review of the town code is gonna do just that. No, or whatever.
So it's gonna be a party of one. And I think it's good to know that the town manager wants certain committees.
Yeah.
That's good for the committee on committees
I
to
think
know.
he sees a value that's a little different from the department director or head that has to interface with the committee, because I think that the town manager hears from residents, complaints, compliments, whatever, at a different level that he can, how do I want to say, defend any changes by saying, look, it's been vetted through the waterways, or it's been vetted through that.
Are we
And I
meeting
think-
next week in the committee on committees? Don't we have?
Yeah,
to-
the 17th.
Why don't we invite Mark to come?
I will say, some of the committees, it says in the ordinance that they advise the council and the town manager, and I believe some say they advise the council. But the bottom line is they're advisory.
Yeah.
Once they're obviously advisory, and
And we
should be advising.
invite Mark to come to this committee too. Why not? We always talk about him, we never invite him. He must
So-
feel so left out. Be happy to
I don't
come.
know about that.
Just what,
Because
But
get
I
it from
have
the horse's
been-
mouth, he's the guy.
I have chaired a committee in the past, and every July, I believe it was, we were asked to fill out a form that described the annual report for inclusion in the town's annual report. So the last one that's on the website. I know COVID came to town and has affected things, but the last one we have is from 2022. And that was always at least one vehicle for reporting to the public the activities.
do we know where that form lives? Like who has that form, who
Cindy.
had that form?
No, it would be through, Lynn Poyant was
Well,
working on it.
there's a simple way to correct that, this whole thing.
Send out the form?
Yeah, directing them to report, and starting there, and then they'll report.
That's
mean,
why I asked, where's the
yeah,
form
let's
live?
just get it. I'll
Because
send it in the
obviously
mail.
it wouldn't be that hard if the form's already made, it wouldn't be that,
You
I mean,
can't,
if it hasn't been since 2022.
it might not be germane, like a good
No,
form
no,
anymore.
what I'm saying
or-
is-
yeah.
like Chris said, I mean, COVID happened and
Yeah, everything got
maybe,
messed up.
whatever, maybe things got busy and people forgot, but maybe, whatever.
I think that there
Actually, a
is,
lot of the committees I'm looking at seem to have both the council and the manager.
There you go.
Which kind of makes sense,
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
does.
if you think about it.
my point is prescribing that it shall be done annually without any enforcement makes it toothless.
Well,
There's a
would
lot
you-
of toothless stuff, but
Yeah, but
So,
what are you gonna
it's
do, write them a ticket?
aspirational.
Like, I just
no,
not.
I'm just saying that it doesn't mean that they can't come anymore. And just saying that we shouldn't put it in writing that it shall be annually when it doesn't happen.
But why not ask them to report annually?
Or you could just say meets with the council at the council's request.
That, something like that. That would make us compliant.
But it's, I just,
But
like, I.
it's like the tail wagging the dog, you gotta figure out what's the thing that matters to you, whether you're compliant or whether
it
the
gets,
thing that you're compliant with, whether it says what you want it to
Yeah,
say.
you just-
or whether we actually, whether, whatever is written, what do we decide is the spirit of intent that we wanna foster? If we wanna foster more engagement,
Or just say,
it doesn't matter whether it's written this way, that way, or another way. We have to institute actual actions to get that done. And then we can fix the language based on what we think we want as a body.
I hear you,
You
and that,
know?
and that's fine. And to
Yeah.
fix it, it could be, it is expected that the committee shall report to the town council.
Yeah.
In a timely manner, or something that doesn't make us out of compliance. But-
I, out of compliance, quote unquote. If we, well, who's gonna ask, Craig or you or the whole council? Just not like out of compliance, just ask them to report. We want them to report. We want to know, we said this at the committee on committees, which now this committee has devolved into the committee on committee part 2.
I know.
For some reason, so, like, that, it's as simple as that, just ask them to report. We can, I mean, just ask them to report. It's not
I
about
think
in
so too, I think they
compliance.
should report.
Out of compliance, make a report. We
Yeah.
want you to make a report, dear whoever, please make your report. We would like to see it in
So
some
my
fashion.
point is, there's already a pathway for that. It's fill out the form and submit it for the town's
Then it
annual
should be a
report.
breeze.
So
But
It's
there are
just
no
not-
consequences for not doing it.
it's not counselor's
probably
job
would
to
do
make
it.
it happen. That's my point. It's not our
Really,
job.
Then
I
who's-
think it is the council's job.
Yeah, I know, pretty,
It is nobody else's job but the
Who else is
council's.
gonna do
'Cause
it,
if it's not
Karen?
important to the council,
your new job.
then guess what? It'll never get done because they're not gonna make it get done.
Somebody's gotta assemble
We're the
the reports.
legislative body that appointed them, that delegated our authority to them to do a given thing. And there'd be literally no one else who would be
Yeah, I
interested.
just think there's a big difference between someone filling out a form and actually speaking to you and
Right.
telling you, what's happening with their committee and what they're focused on and what they think is important and what they think you ought to be focused on.
Especially if if the council votes to refer things to them.
Right, and that I
And
think will
then
be
that's another, they have to be coming back to
a great
advise on
way to get
anything
them in
that
front
they've
of us.
been
We
asked
we
to
haven't been
do.
using that nearly enough.
I know, well, that's what I've been on about, and I went on and on with you and everybody about that rule that already existed that I wanted to create, so that was a good waste of time, but I think.
But it was a celebration.
It was, yes, we were so
Nothing better
happy
than a
that
good
it
waste of
actually
time.
existed. But that's a mechanism for, that will, I mean, we should be doing that, and that will hopefully, anyway. Well, this is not the committee on committees,
No,
this
but
is the committee on the town code.
so
But it is
I
a
will-
it's a noted issue in the town code.
There, that's right,
That-
sorry.
That's why I read it,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
just said that it bothers me that this has, and it's not just,
That's in the
happening.
code, not in the town council rules, that's in the code about the reports.
Yes.
that's what I'm trying
But
to tell
don't
you.
forget town council.
Each committee at the end, it says interrelationships, and it says town council, and then it says, shall report to the council or shall do whatever. And then it says town manager, and it says may advise the town manager on issues related to blah, blah, blah.
It basically says everybody should work together, something like that. But I hear you, I'm just saying that I know, I've seen this, I've watched this latent obligation go unmet, and I can see why. We've been jammed up on our meetings to the point that I mentioned to President Tamish, should we be having extra meetings in July and August, so we can purge. I'm explaining to you that I feel the pressure that there's more to be done. It's just that there's not a lot of time between the front end lately anyways, front-end loading of executive sessions and then run out of time at the end.
Well, I think as far as the lack of reporting of the committees to our council, I think that really the only people worried about that are probably people like us who are sitting in these committees doing this work. I don't hear a lot of people out there on the dais asking
No, I think
for
the committees have good
So-
work they'd like to tell. I don't think they've had the opportunity, but it's not just since Craig has been president. It's been
No,
happening
it's
for a
been going
while.
on since 2022 apparently.
Well,
I
and
take exception to the executive session. Yeah, it adds time, but I don't think that's the thing. The meetings are long.
We just have a lot of stuff to
We
do.
do. And it depends, I mean, this, again, is this the right venue to discuss this strategy and what gets on the agenda and how the agendas are structured? You know, that's a choice that goes
it's gonna
on
be
those
another busy
agendas.
night tomorrow.
I know, but
I
that's
know, but that has nothing to do with the code.
No, I'm just talking
It's a
about
choice
the
that
pressure
goes on those
to
agendas.
present on a Thursday night. So I like your suggestion about maybe having just a paper form or a video form or some other avenue to report. Because at this point for 43, there's more than 43 boards and commissions. You know, there's more after the ad hocs were established, but we disabled a few of them as well. But 40 doesn't go into a year very easily without, chewing up some time.
20.
But
All right,
anyways,
are you gonna reach out to Lynn to see if she has that form?
yes,
Perfect.
Well, just one thing I'd add on that is I would think the liaisons could assist in this. If they recognize something that needs some greater attention, shouldn't they be bringing it back and, vice versa? If we have something that we know needs to go to a certain committee, work through the liaisons. I mean, the liaisons ought to add value to this equation.
I think the weird thing about the liaisons though, you go to a meeting, you attend a meeting, and depending on the committee or the board or the commission, you may just sit there in the background and never say a word and there's no go-between. So it's really kind of weird because you're like an interloper and,
But I think that's fine, you make observations, you can listen to the conversation
But
and
like
see
I
where
wouldn't,
perhaps.
I would not write anything about the CPC that I'm liaison to because I don't feel like I know that committee well enough or the background that I would even like make a stab at that. Other
But
than
couldn't the liaison meet with the chair? and-
Totally, but what I'm saying is I don't know, it's kind of, I think it just depends on the committee. I don't think like all of them have the level of engagement that like every committee has. It's very varied, I mean,
Yeah.
like when I was on infrastructure and energy, they quite often asked me blah, 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 and there was an engagement, whereas CPC doesn't, which is fine. Not saying I even want that, but it's just a little bit, they're very different
Yeah.
sets of
Mine's the
people
school
and members and.
I'm not gonna bore you all with 4.5-hour meetings of the school committee. Like every
Do you sit
coming
through them?
report. Sometimes. I tried to meet with the chair, called her twice and never got a call back. It was like, okay, this isn't gonna be a thing. So I watch what they're doing, but like,
Yeah.
reporting in that regard.
well, they're different in that they're elected on their own right.
Yeah,
But
we still approve their budget and everything.
Yeah, but the school committee is also not one of the committees on committees, is it?
What do you mean, committees?
it is on that list.
But it's not
Housing
a
authority
town,
isn't.
it's not a town council committee. The school committee
it's
is,
not.
yes,
No,
it's
It's an
like,
elected body.
yeah,
But it's
I was like,
listed
it's
on
its
that
own.
page.
Yeah, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
But it's
it's
part
a
of the
department
town.
of the town.
It's a department of the town.
Yeah,
Yep.
and they come and give an annual report every year.
And you do vote their budget.
Right, and we could say, nope.
And they take
And
60%
we
of
can
it.
fix it, and you come back. We can't line item it.
No, you can't.
We can say, nope, not doing it. Get sued.
So
We're digressing.
Yes, by
I
a
don't
long,
see,
long way.
that in looking at the next meeting, that we ought to give some comfortable time for a phone call to the town manager and to request the town staff to work on their input on the code.
So what timetable would you like to see? That's the question.
I
So,
would give them at least a month.
you think so?
Gotta accommodate for people's vacations. This is
Yeah, DPW.
The whole department's on vacation,
No, but Director Santos is out until the end of the month.
Oh,
but
I
he's
didn't
got
even know that.
good people.
No, I know,
Rob.
but I'm just saying like,
Yeah.
Yeah, give them a.
you know, like, I
Well,
mean,
so how about this? If we meet in 2 weeks' time, I'm gonna do, if you'll delegate me to, I'll take care of this tomorrow. I'll get the information. We can meet in 2 weeks' time, I can give it back to you. In the meantime, the clock will already be ticking on their end. If you guys say, okay, we should do 30 days, then 2 weeks will already have elapsed by the time we meet again. And then we can meet the next time and have it, hopefully have something to go off of at that point. If not, we can always push it off a little bit. And then we can decide for our next agenda or whatever, who, like if we get any information in between the tomorrow day and 2 weeks from now, we could decide if we want to have any of those individuals who may have responded or any departments that may have responded, to have a discussion at that 2 week from now meeting. Do you see what I'm saying?
I think it's too soon, but that's just my own.
Yeah, what
I
do
was
you wanna
gonna
do?
suggest at least 3, because then
I would think
it's a
of a
week
month.
without a council meeting.
1 month.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
right, because
thinking
we have the,
strategic plan.
all right, whatever you want to do.
Cause
You
you,
know how I
cause
am.
you guys need to talk to the town manager, then go to the departments, give them time to do their thing and get it back to us. It's gonna take a month, let's be realistic.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Oh.
suggesting.
I don't
I'm
wanna
optimistic.
show up here and us say we got nothing and go
And we don't want a rush job either.
No, but I mean, okay, just up to you, I'm fine with whatever you want to do.
Sounds good.
I just don't want to languish. I don't want to have any
I
languishing.
hear you.
I
Yeah,
want,
but we gotta give them time to get the work done.
none of you guys would like working for me at all.
I own my own business, trust me, stuff
No.
gets done. The government's a whole different ballpark.
My only request is that it be an off week, off from the council meeting.
So I'm hearing October 1st.
October. That is a month from now. Today is like in September,
that's a
isn't
month.
it?
Or the 24th, that's 3 weeks, whatever.
I think you better go into October.
Yeah, so do we want, what was the option, were you saying?
October 1st?
If you wanna keep those ones.
Because if not, the next non-town council meeting would be the 15th. Isn't that, when is
The October meeting's October
Columbus
9th.
Speak of
The
the devil.
13th.
It is.
13th,
It's
so that's
school.
kind of a weird week.
Yeah, so the council meeting's the 9th and the 23rd.
Oh, it's not on the 16th?
16th is strategic planning session.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's not on the 2nd, so it's not the first, the Thursday.
So Wednesday, the 1st, has got school committee meeting at 5:30. That's what they're doing. So if you want to meet before that, Hyannis Main Street Waterfront meets at 6:30 on Wednesday, the 1st.
So do you want to meet Wednesday, the 1st at 3?
But there's nothing on Thursday, the 2nd.
I can do Thursday.
Town council meeting is the 9th,
We're in
Wait a
person,
minute.
we're in person on the Wednesdays.
in person on Wednesday. Okay, got it.
We'll work around you, but
Okay, got it.
Okay, so what are you
Wednesday,
suggesting?
the 1st is fine with me.
Sounds great.
What time?
Want the same time, 4 o'clock? Is that okay with you?
Yeah. My schedule is a lot more open now.
Okay with the attorneys?
yes, thank you.
Yes.
October 1.
Right, so when is the town council meeting?
I don't know, well, Cindy is out, if you could have Mary Lou book the room so it doesn't get scooped from us. Please.
So the town council meeting is not on the 2nd, it's on the 9th and the 23rd.
Yes.
I must have put these in automatically back in the day. I hadn't looked forward to.
You know, some of this gets populated. That's why I was so
You
anxious
were
back
coming every day.
I know. Did you see my phone when it
Oh,
populated?
yeah, you showed me the calendar that was all.
The council meeting. Jim Bernard fixed it for me.
Do you want to approve the meeting minutes?
Yes, I do. Yeah. So next meeting, you would like this pen, you have it, it's a lot of ink. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from February 10th, 2025.
See, that's what I'm talking about, talk about languishing.
I told you why. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. All right, so our next meeting is October 1st at 4 o'clock. Seth and I will work on making something to report to you and motion.
Motion to adjourn?
Kristen, you want your
Second.
stuff back? Oh,
All those in favor?
aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we're adjourned at
Are these both your pens, or did I have one of these?
No, that's, the green one is mine,
Yeah.
that other
This
one
is
must be
mine.
yours.
Well, thank you for letting me use this thing.